Welcome to this video with information about dyslexic traits. This information was gathered from our monthly adult dyslexic support group meetings. So with this information, I've gathered it together to put it into groupings or headings. Before I go into what the traits are, I'm just going to do a strengths recap, just because we can see how it ties in to our traits. And once I show you the groupings or the headings, we're then going to go in more detail about what the traits are. So if we look here, we look at the strengths of our dyslexic thinking. You know, the big picture thinker, seeing how it looks or it's going to work together or how it's going to flow before we even get started. Our problem-solving ability to connect information from lots of different sources and come up with different ideas for problems. And our empathy, our understanding of how other people feel. And how we connect better to information that is presented visually. So when working through the dyslexic traits, I could see that there were things that were in common, so I was able to put them or group them under certain headings. And these headings were our efficient thinking, our ability to see how to streamline a process and get it done quicker and faster. Our communication is quite unique, and how we have to, change it depending on who we speak to. Our big picture focus and how that impacts us. What happens when we're going places, getting from A to B. How our empathy looks. What our planning is like and how we go about that. The helping of others. Our confidence and how that's impacted. How we adapt to change and with our learning. And the resilience we have. So if you look here, we've got our first one of efficient thinking, and I've tied it into our problem-solving strength with that picture in the corner. So our efficient thinking is, we're solution-focused. We like to streamline the processes. We're quick at working out how a system works. Then we can see the shortcuts that can be made to make it more efficient. We see patterns and we can fill gaps. And we might think, where do I need to be to make this happen? And doing all this, we actually may be told to slow down. And it's when you're using your natural, efficient thinking, and you can see that it's working and you're putting it in place, you can get a sense of satisfaction and value. You enjoy the challenge of being more efficient or the most efficient, that you can forget the passing of time as you're focusing so much on that efficient process. So it might be that you need to use physical reminders to know when to stop. And these reminders can be being tired or fatigued, hungry, or you've actually finished the job. With communication, we can come across as blunt. We've got the information in our head and we want to get it across. We want just to give you the points, without the extra information. And sometimes we might feel like we have to apply filters to our energy and our thoughts or words when talking with some people. And we find that fluff hard. So that is those extra bits that sort of soften the blunt message, like, how are you? What have you been up to? Whether it's an email or face-to-face. So it's that small talk can be difficult. We can overthink social situations. Because our ability to read people is like it's 3D, we don't just take their words, we take their body language, their what they're saying, what they're doing, all into account. that sometimes we sort of overthink what's actually going on. And we have to have trust before being able to open up with new people. With our big picture focus, it's sometimes like detail doesn't seem as important. So we have, and it reduces, their getting angry on the little stuff. So we have this acceptance of this flow of life, and we can see the patterns of life and how it all weaves together. We do better with directions when we can see visual features rather than directional language. So when we're going places, it's, instead of saying turn left and then take the next right, it's saying, and we use our hands, we might say go that way at the pink house and then go that way when you see the green letterbox. We have the ability to work out the quickest, most efficient way to get somewhere, and that's like working with the flow of the traffic, going where the traffic lights are. And when we're actually getting from A to B, we can have such a strong focus on doing that we might have a reluctance to stopping on the trips. Or when we're shopping, we're in and out with no casual browsing. With our empathy, understanding how other people feel, we can get a sense of a person's intention, and we can just feel it or just know what it is. And it was talked about that we know a person's essence, that's how strong that connection of empathy is. And we can be human connectors, joining people together to, come together for a common cause. And we have this creativity so we can get the best out of people. With our planning, we can see or know what is required. We can have that big picture and then work through it with our problem-solving strengths. And we can have that planning, but then we can think, well, what if something happens? So we're thinking what could happen and what I can plan to do, to counter that. And the planning can be for events like going on holiday, or it can be with work and completing a work project. And if we plan, and we've got a plan in place, it means we can stop thinking about it. However, our planning may come across as worry or over-planning to others. So if we think about how we help others, we have this willingness to do so. We have a giving nature, and we like to share our knowledge and our awareness to help others. It's like it creates a purpose. This can stop, though, if it feels like the other person or persons are taking advantage, or that they think our kindness is a weakness. With the confidence, you can see here I've got a picture of a walnut, and this is because we create these coping strategies like the hard shell, but inside we still have our uniqueness of who we are. And we create these shells just to get by in a system that hasn't been as friendly as it needed to be. So if you might be able to see the quickest and easiest and fastest path, but you may not feel confident to speak up. You may find it hard to explain what is in your head. And you may have tried speaking up, but others don't get it and look at you funny when you do it. You can feel like an imposter, and you won't speak up in case people find out that you're covering, that they'll find out the real you. And our masking of our challenges affects our confidence. So with our trait around change and learning, we like learning and moving on to the next thing. We like challenges. And we have flexibility around change and adapting to it and managing it. And we see change as an opportunity to focus on something. It's to go forward, to do something. And if we're moving forward, even if it's small, it gives us a sense of satisfaction that we've achieved something. We can embrace innovation. And even though it takes us time to learn, but once we get it, it stays. And then you can start to improve on it to make it more efficient. And then we have our resilience. The resilience is the ability to keep going regardless of what comes your way. And we've lived in a system that hasn't recognized our difference in our brain, our cognitive diversity. And we've developed grit, and we've developed a quiet determination. And it does mean that we're not likely to ask for help. So those are the traits that we've talked about and discussed and have come up for the majority of us that were there. If you would like more support as an adult dyslexic, we have monthly face-to-face peer support meetings. We also have an online forum for adult dyslexics, and it's a safe place to ask questions of other dyslexics who are there. You can email us at this email here, or follow us on Facebook at Aotearoa Trust. Thank you.